Good morning, everybody. The time is now, what is it now? 8:02. And I'm going to call to order the Finance Committee for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Cahill. Member Childress. Here. Member Covert.
Here.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Here. Member Evans. Here. Member Galassi. Here. Member Garcia.
Here.
Member Heather. Here. Member Honig. Here. Member Krajewski. Here. Member LaPlante. Member Ozag. Here. Member Martinez. Here. Member Schwarze. Here. Member Tornatori. Here. Member Yu.
Here.
And Member Zay.
Do we have any public comment for today? Thank you. Okay. I have no chairwoman's remarks for today, so we're going to go directly into the meeting. This might be a short one, so let's go. May I get a motion to approve the motion minutes for 26-0708 Finance Committee regular meeting Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. We had a motion by Member Heather, second by Member Vice Chair Cahill. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-0780 transfer of funds from contingencies to other contractual expenses in the amount of $7,000 to cover the cost of license plate readers on Stern Road in District 6. We had a motion by Member Zay, second by Member Evans, and a question by Member Zay.
Yeah, no, thank you for putting this on the agenda. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-0781 transfer of funds from IT equipment small value to IT equipment in the amount of $10,278 to cover the fiscal year 25 invoice for inside public sector. We had a motion by Member Childress, second by Member Yu. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-0777 budget transfer for various companies and accounting units? We got a motion by Member Childress, second by Member Heather. Any discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to procurement requisitions, and I'm going to hand it off to Vice Chair Cahill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval on FIP 0002-26. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to CDW Government to acquire various IT equipment for the Election Commission for the period February 24th, 2026 through November 30th, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $129,396.16. Contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. Grant funded county clerk.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by Member Galassi, and a question by Member Zay.
Yeah, it's nice to see something on the agenda from the clerk and the election commission. My question is, the reason why it's on the agenda, is it because it's grant funded? I assume, and that's the only reason?
And I think I had a question on this, and I think it was through the IT department mostly, I believe. They work with together.
This isn't like a big change in policy. This reason has to be here because it's grant funded, I think. Okay, thanks.
The County Clerk Election Division worked with IT to purchase these computers, and they bought it off the Omnia contract, which is a good thing. And yes, because it is a grant, grants are under county board jurisdiction. It's on the agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIP 3-26. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Marshall McClellan Agency, LLC, to provide assistance and evaluation of the county's health and wellness benefits for human resources for the period April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2029 for a contract total amount not to exceed $600,000 per RFP human resources.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by Member Zay. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIP 4-26. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Duplex Technologies, Inc. for managed IT monitoring and support for the Regional Office of Education for the period February 25th, 2026 through February 24th, 2027, for a contract total amount not to exceed $55,000 per RFP, Regional Office of Education.
Motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by Member Evans. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, thank you, Vice Chair Cahill. Moving on to Animal Services and Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on ASP 0001-26 recommendation for the approval of contract to Curry Motors.
Just stopping. Motion by Member Krajewski, second by member who was the second?
Sadi.
Covert, okay. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Member Krajewski. Moving on to Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on HSCO 426, amendment to county contract 78540001 serve issued to Healthy Hair Heating and Air Inc. for low-income home energy assistance program for community services to increase the contract by $150,000.
Motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Covert. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1526, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Kronos Inc. for time clocks for the DuPage Care Center for the period February 25, 26 through February 24, 27 for a contract total amount not to exceed $52,624.
Motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Covert. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1626. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Advocare Systems for rental of medical equipment, beds, and mattresses for the DuPage Care Center for the period of March 1, 26 through February 28, 27 for a contract total amount not to exceed $67,000.
Motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Covert. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. Moving on to Judicial and Public Safety and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPS R-4-26, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage on behalf of the Sheriff of DuPage County and Glenbard Township High School District Number 87 for providing a school resource officer and authorizing the development of guidelines for reciprocal reporting, county cost of 20% of the assigned officer's benefits and salary.
Yeah, I need to pause on this because I believe, Member Evans, you need to discharge the committee on this one. That's okay.
Okay. I move to discharge the Judicial and Public Safety Committee as to agenda item JPS R-4-26.
Okay, we got a motion to discharge and a second by Member Tornatori, I believe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we'll go back to reading.
Okay,
them.
so
Sorry.
I'm going to read this again. I move to approve JPS R-4-26, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage on behalf of the Sheriff of DuPage County and Glenbard Township High School District Number 87 for providing a school resource officer and authorizing the development of guidelines for reciprocal reporting, county cost of 20% of the assigned officer's benefits and salary.
Okay, so we've got a motion by Member Evans, second by, Member Zay, and a question by Member Ozog, I see first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like some more background on this. My understanding is that local municipalities have usually provided the school resource officers and that this is not a role that we've been involved in. So can you?
Good morning. This is Deputy Chief Bilodeau. Glenbard South High School is an unincorporated high school, has always been an unincorporated high school, and we've had a school resource officer at Glenbard South for decades.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Member Desart.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my first question because normally municipalities cover the school resource officer. There wasn't a lot in the packet. So Deputy Chief Bilodeau, I'm just wondering how many other schools, or is this the only one for which we provide school resource officers, number one? Number two, what is the salary? I looked in the packet, I couldn't find a salary. I know the county pays 20%, but 20% of what? Thank you.
So that is the only high school that is unincorporated in DuPage County. There are multiple middle schools and elementary schools that are unincorporated in DuPage County. We have another school resource officer that travels between all of those schools. He is not dedicated to any one specific school at any one day or time. He just kind of goes to all those schools and visits all of those schools. I do not know the exact salary for the detective who is assigned as a school resource officer. We could get that information to you, but I don't know her exact salary off the top of my head.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Assistant State's Attorney Bruckner can answer that.
With regards to the salary, it's dependent on which officer is assigned. If the officer that is going to be assigned there is changed at any time, it will change to reflect his salary because they're all subject to different salaries under the union contract.
Okay. I've got member you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So it sounded like this is something that we've done before, so this is not the first time we've had this intergovernmental agreement. So I was just wondering, is this somebody that comes, is this the same person that we've always had that's the SRO, or is it somebody else? Just because I know that there was an open head count in the sheriff's office and I was just concerned, do we have enough people to cover this position?
This position has never gone unstaffed. We've always had somebody at the school, and the detective that's there now is in her third or fourth, maybe even fifth year at the high school. She is at the school every day that the school is open unless she is on vacation. The only reason this agreement is back in front of the board is because the school district asked for some different reciprocal reporting information, and that's encompassed in every school district or at every school that Glenbard School District covers. So it's just a modification to the reciprocal reporting information.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, member Krajewski.
Thank you. I had some of the similar questions with regards to the cost, and so I went in and took a look at it, but it's 80%, and it says of the officer's salary, 80% of the benefits, 80% of work comp insurance, et cetera. But in there, and I just pointed out to the state's attorney when I was going through the formula, it says refer to the paragraph above, except it's not there. I guess they deleted a paragraph, forgot to update it, so they need to fix that. I pointed that out to the state's attorneys. We need to fix that paragraph. It probably should be referred to paragraph 7 above, not 8. But then the question I had, I know this is only unincorporated since we've always been doing it, but the municipalities that do this at all throughout the county, do we know, do they do an 80%, 20%, or are they doing 100% pass through to what the actual charges are? And I don't know if we've looked at that or if we know.
I don't know that they do or they don't, but I don't know that any school would unless they have that school officer in the school 365 days of the year. I would assume it's probably 80% because we're not there in the summertime.
But you're dividing it by 10. If you look at it, I think the formula says, right, it's August to May, and then you divide it by 1/10, so it's only 10 months.
I'm not sure what the municipalities do.
No, I'm talking about your contract. You just said it was not for the full year, except I think it's a 10-month contract. It says
I will-
August, May.
I will admit that I'm at a slight disadvantage because I was not aware that this was coming on the agenda today and I had nothing to do with this. So I'm answering the questions to the best of my ability. So I can look into that and get back to you, but
Yeah, I think it spells out in there. It's 10 months, so it's 1/10. But
again, as I said, I have not read this, so I'm at a slight disadvantage.
again, then I just more concerned. My bigger question is why it's not 100% of the cost affiliated with it instead of us doing 80. If the officer's only out there 30 hours and we're only paying 30 hours of the time, or if they're out 20 hours, it's 20 hours, but it just should be a direct cost. I'm just asking that question of, does villages subsidize the contract?
I can check into that with what we're doing as far as what all the other municipalities do at their schools. I have no idea.
Because the way I read it, we're paying 20% of the officer's salary.
And I believe possibly 20% of the time they're not at school because the school is closed during the summer, as Chief or Deputy Chief Billadu indicated. And I do know that with regards to school districts, a lot of them offer an opportunity for their educators to get paid either over 12 months or 10 months.
But again, why wouldn't it just be the direct cost then? If the officer only works 20 hours, it's 20 hours. If they work 35 hours, it's 35. It seems like it should be the direct cost. And if I read that agreement, I think it says it's 10 months.
I think we'll have to get back to you on that because I think right now that the question you're asking is a little unclear, so we'll try to get some answers for you before county board.
Says the sheriff will submit to the district a monthly statement August through May for 1/10 of the amount calculated in paragraph 7A and D above, including overtime salary incurred in the month in stipulated paragraph 7E.
Is there anyone from the sheriff's office that can answer that? I know Chief Bilodeau hasn't.
I'll have to get some more information on that.
Yeah, we'll have to get that answer before county board for you. Member Krajewski,
Thank you.
Member Zay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know we're having this debate, but this contract's already been approved. All that's being changed is the reciprocal reporting. And what other municipalities do is completely different. I know Carroll Stream, I think, funds it themselves because they take great pride of providing a resource officer to Glenbard North. And they fundraise and do other stuff. Same thing with the middle school. So to try to get a comparison between what each municipality does in each high school, I think you're gonna find multiple ways that they deal with this. So I don't think there's one standard way where each municipality or the county would do it. It's kind of a hybrid, I would think.
I
And
think it's
again,
whatever
talking
works
about
for
how,
what municipality, quite
right,
honestly.
through
Yes.
municipalities. And
Right.
again, we've already approved this. Like they said, it's just the guidelines for the reporting that the district has asked for. And nothing to change how the payment is or anything else. They're just asking for a different reporting.
And
As
again,
I-
how long has this contract been going on? Chief Bilodeau, Deputy Chief Bilodeau?
I'm about to start my 27th year, and in the time I've been here, we've had a school resource officer there, so it predates my employment at the sheriff's office.
It's been going on quite a while. Okay, thank you. Any other questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPSP 15 26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Zoho Corporation to provide support for managed engine apps and licenses for the sheriff's office for the period of January 6th, 2026 through January 5th, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $40,630.
A motion by member Evans, second by Vice Chair Cahill. Any discussion on this? Member Krajewski.
Yeah, the question on this again, because it's my normal one, because it's backdated January 6th. I was talking to Evan, and he said something about there was not enough money in the budget. Although the year just started and there was an emergency, so I don't know, they had a backdated, so maybe I get a little more clarification on exactly what happened. I know.
It's me again. So what happened is we had a whole lot of budget movement and creating budget accounts. We had a lot of back and forth with finance about budget lines, and this line was not funded to the request that we had asked for it to be funded to. So we had to do an emergency purchase to cover that time gap between now and the end of the last budget year, where we covered that internally. And Zoho is just backdating the contract to keep that service that was continuing through that time period. So it was just a matter of having to transfer some money into that correct line to get them paid so that we didn't lose some of our cybersecurity protections and have any potential incidents.
If I understand correctly, I mean, it's the beginning of the budget year, you guys requested it, our finance department said no, therefore there wasn't enough money in the budget beginning of the year here for this. And so you had to do an emergency transfer.
There wasn't enough money in the line that we requested the line to have in. That line wasn't funded the way we did, so we had to move some money internally. We not any emergency that we asked the board or the county for any additional money. We just had to do some internal transfers to get the money into the right line to fund this contract.
Okay. We should probably add, I mean, it sounds like you guys are on top of it, wanted money in the security line item, and for some reason it was pushed back. But I mean, anything with related to cybersecurity and stuff, we should probably make sure we really analyze it, make sure that the departments have enough money in their budget when they ask for it, especially at the beginning of the year too. And so not have money in this line item, a little concerning.
I think they did have the money, they just had to move it over to.
Well,
that
they didn't
first
have
line.
it in the line item.
I understand.
Let's move it over, but then we're voting on something.
Jeff's gonna come up and explain.
If a line item in a department budget was reduced, I don't want to say arbitrarily, but if it was reduced, it was because it was underspent in prior years. So there was a directive from county board leadership and finance to reduce these line items based on prior year spending. So maybe this was necessary, but we've asked that there be funding that comes out of the department budget to cover some of this.
Isn't there a follow-up though that we do with that? So if we look at last year's, if they didn't spend it, then we ask for the reasons why, because it could be just they didn't get around to getting it that year, so next year it's gonna be spent. So if there's a valid reason, we would increase it. Just because they didn't spend it doesn't mean they may just not have done it that year, but they still need it. But don't they usually have explanations on that?
Well, we sit down with all departments once a budget is adjusted or reduced, give them the opportunity to look at it and ask them to live within, in that budget for 2026.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPSP 16 26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Polaris Pharmacy Services of Warrington, DBA Contract Pharmacy Services to provide pharmaceutical services and supplies for detainees for the Sheriff's Office for the period of February 26, 2026 through February 25th, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $680,444.38.
A motion by member Evans, second by member Yu. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Evans. Moving on to Public Works and member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 426 on the recommendation for the approval of a contracted order, Carry Motors Frankfurt, Inc. to furnish and deliver two 2026 Ford Transit 350 cargo vans for facilities management for a period of February 25, 2026 to November 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $112,132.
A motion by member Childress, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 526 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Petroleum Traders Corporation to furnish, deliver off-road diesel fuel as needed for the power plant and standby power facility for a period of April 1, 2026 to March 31, 2027 for facilities management for a contract not to exceed $102,000.
$101,000. Correct.
Yeah,
That's okay.
$101,000.
And so it's motion by member Childress, second by member Galassi. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 526 on the recommendation for the approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois, and Burns and McDonald's for the professional rate analysis for the public works and sanitary sewer utilities for a period of February 24, 2026 to November 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $41,763.
Motion by member Childress, second by member Galassi. Is there any discussion on this one? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FWP 626 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract order to AT&T for analog and POTS service lines for various public works locations for a period of February 24, 2026 through February 16, 2028 for a total contract amount not to exceed $80,000.
Get a motion by member Childress, second by member Heather. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And finally, I'd like to move on PWP 726 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to RJN Group to review, inspect water main pipelines, I'm sorry, for public works for a period of February 24, 2026 to November 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $72,468.
Motion by member Childress, second by member Yu. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Childress. Moving on to technology and member Colbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on TE-CO-2-26, amendment to purchase order 7399-1, issuing to Imaging Systems, Inc., doing business as Integrated Document Technologies for the annual Highland and CAPSA software assurance maintenance of imaging systems for supervisor of assessments, treasurer, family center, coroner, and county clerk paid for by information technology to increase the contract in the amount of $28,000, resulting in an amended contract total amount not to exceed $355,930.81.
A motion by member Covert, second by member Schwarzy. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on TE-P-003-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Insight Public Sector for the procurement of annual maintenance and support of Veritas Net backup software for information technology for the period of March 18th, 2026 through March 17th, 2029, for a contract total amount of $385,588.50, contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act.
Motion by member Covert, second by member Schwarzy. Any discussion on this item? Member you.
Actually, thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question. I forgot to ask this actually in technology, but I just noticed that the 2026 and the contract ends through 2029, and I know that this is for backup, but we're moving everything to the cloud eventually. So do we need this backup all the way through 2029?
Got it.
So, yeah, so we do annual or 3-year terms with the contracts just to get the lowest cost. And even if we don't have a set timeline when everything will necessarily be in the cloud, and we'll still have, on-site systems that, for more fundamental services that will still need to be backing up data.
Okay, through 2029, you think?
Yeah, and this ties into the cloud as well. so
Okay,
It will cover both areas.
thank you.
All right, thank you for that answer and question. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Covert. Moving on to transportation and member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the board approves our first item here, we will have no more snow this winter. Forget I said that. I move to approve amendment to DTR 1525 issued to Compass Minerals America Incorporated to furnish and deliver bulk rock salt as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period June 24th, 2025 through May 31st, 2026 to increase the encumbrance in the amount of $212,370, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $920,270, an increase of 30%.
Got a motion by member Ozog, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Like I said, forget I said that. Anyway, I move for approval of DTP 1026, recommendation for the approval of a contract to JX Truck Center of Elmhurst to furnish and deliver Cummins engine repair and replacement parts as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2027 for a contract total not to exceed $50,000 per renewal option under bid award 2410 DOT, second of 3 options to renew.
Motion by member Ozog, second by Vice Chair Cahill. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 1126, recommendation for approval of a contract purchase order to Al Warren Oil Company to furnish and deliver gasoline and diesel fuel as needed for the Division of Transportation and Public Works for the period April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2027 for a contract total not to exceed $1,750,000, Division of Transportation $1 million, Public Works $750,000 per renewal option, third and final renewal.
Motion by member Ozog, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. I move for approval of DTP 1226, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Earthworks Land Improvement for sanitary sewer relocation and related grading and landscape restoration is needed for the Division of Transportation for the period of February 24th, 2026 through May 31st, 2027 for a contract total not to exceed $1,071,646.40 per FGMA bid 26422601.
Motion by member Ozark, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor then?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Ozark.
Thank you.
Moving on to finance resolutions and back to Vice Chair Cahill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval on FIR 21-26, authorization of contract with American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Council 31, Human Resources.
A motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Heather, as a question by member Yu.
It wasn't a question, it was just a comment to say that I'm really grateful that this is finally going through. I know this was a long time in coming, and I'm grateful to all the negotiators, people who were at the table to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment, member Yu. Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 37-26, annual financial commitment in support of the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $50,000.
Motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Galassi. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 43-26, acceptance and appropriation of the Best Friends Animal Society Families Forever Grant, $20,000 for animal services.
A motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Galassi. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 44-26, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Court Technology Modernization Program grant fiscal year 26 in the amount of $50,000 for the 18th Judicial Circuit Court.
Motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Yu. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 47-26, approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage County Health Department for the use of investment earnings from the opioid settlement funds, Health Department.
A motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Yu. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move to receive and place on file A, payment of claims, B, wire transfers, C, grant proposal notifications.
Motion to receive and place on file from Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Galassi. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Received and placed on file. Okay, thank you. Is there any old business anybody like to discuss today? Member Krajewski?
Yeah, at development the other day, remember you asked her a question about the map being in the packet, and then I asked on the next agenda item for the map being in the packet. And it looked at it, maybe Lisa, you could tell us about the federal law now that's out there that for accessibility, and we cannot put maps in packets for the public because we can't, there's so much detail on them that we can't get those put in there. So as a result, the public and us don't get the maps in the agenda items, part of the new federal law. Yeah, not exactly, but I was trying to find out why they weren't in there, so talked
Sounds like they're trying to decide. Okay, Evan's coming up to explain. I know it was explained in the committee meeting a little bit before you got there, I think.
yeah, but it's
exactly why they weren't on it.
They said it was supposed to be in there, and it's not, but it's because of the federal rules out there now.
Yeah, the federal government has passed a new rule related to accessibility in terms of things that we put on the website. It's something we're currently working through, and we're planning a bit larger of a presentation to bring before the board in the coming weeks, going through everything that we're doing to come into compliance with it.
I was just gonna add that. Microphone, please.
These maps, we can't do it because there's so much, at least what Connor was saying, there's so much detail in there. So as a result, we just don't put it in there. So the federal government made it so complex that we can't put it out there. So now we don't put it out.
Well, it's my understanding, I think that we're looking at options on how to do it, because the problem is, in order to make it accessible, it's so lengthy and so much volume that it's hard to do it that way. I know the board members are still getting those attachments. We'll just have to figure out if there's another way to do it. They're just to let you know too, they're having meetings with this group countywide on how to make, this accessibility document work. So
Okay.
we're working on it.
Thank you, Lisa.
That was
Thank
the
you,
reason
Evan.
why they weren't in the packets on the attachments for the public and I guess for us.
But I believe, Evan, you sent them all to us, so we've got those for
I'm
votes
just
today. Yeah.
concerned about transparency for the public to see the apps and packages.
Yeah, I
now.
understand. I had the same concern in the meeting, so, but there's nothing we can do at this point in time until it's solved. So thank you for the answers. I appreciate that. Okay, is there any other question regarding any old business? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn? So moved, second?